This is Deshaun. He's going to show you what it's like to use a real platform as a service, a real platform.
Let's go build a app real quick. I'm going to start.spring.io. I'm going to build an app. I'm going to use Java 21. I'm going to add a couple of things. Let's do actuator. I'm going to do the simplest app that I can that will deploy something that we can actually go and hit some metrics. Let's generate that.
So what's happening here is that he started from nothing to build a Java app, and he's used the Spring initializer to download it, and you'll see how that goes.
I'm a developer. I have an idea. Let's build it. Let's replace that. It is 9/21. All I've been given is credentials to log in. Let's go and, hello. Let's unzip that app. Overwrite what was there. Go into demo. And then here's my app. Here's my code that I just generated. It's the same code that was here. We can go and look. It's nothing fancy. It's a Spring Boot app. But the same thing would work if you're a Python developer, if you're a .NET developer. Now I'm going to show you this build packs. I don't have to do anything to get this to production. I've got a set of build packs, and this is kind of hard to read. I'll do it like this. I've got a set of build packs that are already deployed for me. This is part of the menu. These are the things that are supported in production. So if you've got Python developers, you've got Java developers, which if you're an operator, you do. I work with teams doing all sorts of languages, but here we can see we've got Ruby that's supported.
Now, a platform engineer did this. They curated all those types of applications, and they've added in whatever type of configuration they need for their enterprisey stuff. The developers don't have to do this. And there's a lot of these configurations.
Just Nginx, you've got HTTP apps, Node apps. I can deploy static binaries. So I can deploy Application Advisor. I can deploy apps that are delivered as binaries. I can do that as well. I've got Go, I've got R, I've got Python, I've got, yeah, you guys know that one. I've got .NET, web servers, and of course Java and native images. So I have all these things. Think of it as like if you've got a golden Docker file, that's great. But again, we don't want all of that machinery in order to update Docker files. What I get to do here, because I have those build packs that are supported, and I'm going to show, actually you'll see it. If I do cf push, we're going to call it demo to overwrite the previous one. And I think that's all I need. So it says, hey, let's go push this demo. And I think what we're going to see, it's uploading my source code to the platform. From there, it's going to do its things. It says, hey, here's all of the build packs. There's a process here. I can have all of those build packs deployed. But as a developer, I didn't have to say, oh, I'm deploying Java, I'm deploying Python. It'll actually go through and it'll inspect the code that we're uploading, and it'll say, I see that you're using .NET. Let me build the .NET parts. I see that you're using Java. Let me build the Java parts.
You know, it doesn't actually talk like that, though. It would be pretty cool if it said, every time something cool happened.
And you can even have multiple build packs operating on the same source code. If I've got something that has like a Node.js app embedded or a web app embedded into a Java app, I can do that. I can combine build packs. That's another value. You can't do that really easily with Docker files, right? Especially if you're trying to do that golden image. Here's my Java golden image, and then it's got a Node.js component. Then you have a bunch of one-off Docker files, right? For those snowflakes that are combining applications. And I can deploy more than one app. So this is powerful stuff. So all it's doing is uploading.
This is where you can see why developers building their own containers is a bunch of extra work. It's something that should be out of the ordinary, not the ordinary.
And there's a trade-off here, right? I'm letting the platform take care of this. Again, I don't have a Docker file, but now that image is also taken care of in the platform. I don't have to stand up a bunch of registries. All of that information, the source code is the artifact, and the platform takes care of that image. And that's nice. So we're up, it's standing up. It did all the work. But in that, it also, for the Java one, the Java build pack has been kind of the mainstay, the heavy hitter. We're doing this with companies all over the world, and a lot of companies want kind of that best performance. How many times have you looked at your Docker file and said, hey, I could optimize this? The build packs that are on our platform, they've been optimized for 10 plus years by some of the biggest companies around the world. So the optimizations that are in the Java build pack are the best, especially if you're using Spring. because Spring is optimized for the build pack. So there's things in that combination that gives you the best performance.
A real platform does that annoying container building for you. And it makes sure you're getting all the same enterprisey goodness, the controls, security, compliance, whatever, that you want from a golden image.
I was at a conference a couple weeks ago. We can go here, CF Apps. And there was a software engineer, and he would call himself a DevOps engineer, and he had all the AWS certifications. And he was like, what about my custom Docker file? And it had all these optimizations. And in this workshop that had a few hundred people, I said, well, let's take a look. Let's build this little Spring Boot app, this little Hello World app from the initializer. Let's show it with your application, and then let's do it with a build pack. And let's just kind of look at the memory. I think I can do apps. Let's go over here. Let's go and look in the platform. Hit refresh. I just said, hey, let's build it. And we just did it side by side, just with something off the board. And we kind of saw a significant difference in the amount of memory that it was using because of the optimizations that are in the build pack. It actually looks at your source code, not just, hey, I'm using Java. It looks at the code, it looks how you're using it, and it will help size your container. So it gives you the right size container out of the box. Uh-oh. So here, I got a 1 gigabyte container. That's fantastic. I got right size. If you're doing the golden image Docker thing, you kind of have a best guess. We'll give them 2, maybe we'll give them 4. How do you get the right size for all of your applications if you're delivering Docker files? Sizing those images is really important, right? You don't want to give all of your images 4 gigs or all of your images 8 gigs because those are reservations. Right? So there's a lot of things here.
So that's a lot of your platform engineering things. Think through all the control over applications that you get. When the platform builds the container and configures it for you, it gives the operators, the platform engineers, if you like to call them that, a lot more control over the running of that application.
But as a developer, why I love this is I don't care. I'm writing my apps, I'm pushing it to the platform, and the platform knows how to size it the right way. But let's say that the platform didn't figure it out. I can still modify that application in the platform. I can go in here to my settings. I get all of this. Let's bump that up. I get all this beautiful information about this app that I just created. I did it at 9/21, and right now we're in production. Remember that? Remember my once in a lifetime, like, oh, this changed my life? You can go hit this URL, and don't worry, because I didn't add any code. I just added this actuator. And I can see that, hey, my app is up and running. This is fantastic. But this URL, if you've got your phone, I want you to grab this URL, demo.apps, Taz. This is not like a, hey, I'm just here. This is real. This is in production. And I can go and do another one. I can do the same thing. I can change the name, and it'll automatically change the route. I can give it additional routes. All of that. I didn't have to do a Docker file. I didn't have to open any tickets.
This is why keeping your configuration separate is so powerful. Of course, you need a runtime environment that allows you to do that and to change the configuration around and respond to it in production. And a real platform does that, a platform as a service.
So as a developer, this is the experience that I crave. We haven't even gotten into the AI stuff. This is the experience that I crave. When I'm trying to get something to production, when the leadership comes to me and says, hey, we've got to have this new app, we got to compete with the guys down the street, we got to compete with them. We got to get this app, and it's got to be out today.
And as always, you need a case study, a real world story. So here it comes.
I don't know if you guys remember 2020. 2020 was a weird year. We had the COVID, and one of our customers, the CDC, said, hey, you're in this space. You've got to deliver this information, and it's got to be done by Tuesday. Right? Most of the company was like, oh, Tuesday? It's Thursday. How are we going to get the VMs? How are we going to get the infrastructure? And there was definitely competing platforms inside of the company, right? There was the, hey, self-service deployment VMs, and we'll take care of it, and we have all your stuff. There's another group that had Kubernetes that was doing their thing. But the bottom line was on a Thursday, they said, we have to deliver this by Tuesday. There was only one platform that was going to make that happen. Of all the things that were chosen in that organization, there was only one that was going to make it happen by Tuesday. And it was Tanzu platform. That was the only way that they were going to get there to check all the things, because it was as easy as creating a new org, creating a new space, having those credentials. The platform takes care of everything else. The cert registration, the routing, the scaling. COVID, again, was interesting times. We had to make sure they would stay up and they would scale to meet demand. And yeah, and we're happy about that.
Now that's just a quick 10-minute app of what a real platform looks like. Did I get that math right? It's like 921 to 929. I assume that's in the AM. Ask yourself, are your developers building the platforms and doing all that configuration? And if you're a developer, ask yourself, are you building the containers and managing that configuration for production and especially changing it around as security patches come out and you need to optimize things? Is that part of your development process or part of the platform engineering process? If you are doing all that annoying stuff, maybe you're not using a real platform. Now, the Tanzu platform, built on top of Cloud Foundry, is a real platform as a service that's built from those principles and does those things for you. You should check it out. If you work at a larger organization, there's a pretty good chance that you already have it available. Just ask around. You can even trial the Tanzu platform for 90 days. This is part of the AI starter kit that gets all your fancy AI stuff, but it also is just the platform in general in this AI starter kit, so you should go check it out. Go to trytanzu.ai, get it up and running, and experience what it's like to use and run a real platform.